shit. Today's video sponsor is GVG Mode, where using my SKG discount code leads to a 25% off across several products, making a Windows 10 serial key only $16. After the payment, you'll receive the key in your account, and all you need to do is to introduce it in your Windows settings, and bam! You have an activated system. So guys, FSR 0.0 was actually just released a few days ago in its first game, which is Deathloop. Now, I already tested the game in terms of quality and in terms of performance with the 6950 XT and the 6600 XT, as you can see in this video, but how will it run on an older card like, for example, the RX 580? That's what I'm gonna show you in this video. Now, for that, we're gonna need this and this to connect the new build to the build you actually see on the top of the table, okay? So I will disconnect my testing build and will put the i5-11400F and the RX 580 build that I have right there, and I will connect it and I will go into Deathloop to test the FSR 2.0 on my 1080p ultra-wide 29 inches monitor. So let's see how the RX 580 actually fares, and if it is actually worth to use the FSR 2.0, and if it will actually gain performance or not. That's what I want to know. So guys, here we are now on Deathloop using once again the RX 580 to see if it actually can run at least decently good Deathloop, and we're actually running ultra settings as for now, okay? But this is on an inside part, so once we go outside, things will actually get harder, okay? For the GPU, of course, not for me. 40 FPS at native, okay? And the game looks pretty well with like I told you before in the previous FSR video, this part in particular has really has a jaggering problem, as you see there, on the cables and so on, but that's it. But as for now, we have 40 FPS, which is not that bad if we take in consideration that we're running at ultra settings in a GPU as old as the RX 580, okay? 1080p ultra settings. Now let's try, for example, the FSR and see FSR 2.0, of course, and see if we actually get a bit more performance. So we actually go from 40 FPS that we have now. Let's watch the quality mode. We have also the adaptive resolution, which usually brings better quality, even more than the quality version, so it adapts the resolution considering the FPS numbers you have. But in this case, I just want to have a stable quality, a stable render quality, so FSR 2.0 quality mode it is. Apply settings, and yeah, we had a decent boost. The image quality though is, now we can see that it is definitely worse, okay? So at 1440p and above, it makes no difference, and in some scenarios FSR is even better, but it seems that at 1080p that's not the case, because the render resolution will be just way lower than it should be. So if the render resolution is at least 1080p, it seems that FSR does very well, but at lower than 1080p, well, things get bad. Things get bad, and not even with the FSR sharpening amount of 10, not even with that, we actually get 60 FPS. So yeah, we go from 40 to 50 FPS with FSR, which is not that nice actually. But let's try and decrease the settings. So let's disable the FSR. This keeps going up, I don't know why. So disabling the upscaling, and let's go to, instead of ultra, let's go to very high settings and see what we get. So we were having like 40 FPS before at native. Let me just enable the sharpening, of course, because this game always disabled the damn sharpening. Temporal, yes, Fidelity FX cars. Okay, so basically yes, we went from 40 FPS at ultra settings to 50 FPS at ultra settings. So I think that in this particular game we need to go and decrease the settings to high, most likely, to achieve at least the 60 FPS, it seems. Okay, let the textures load. I mean, incredibly high or very high settings actually have only a difference of 2 FPS, so from 49 to 51, which is literally nothing. I don't really understand this, so I guess I will keep the very high settings, I suppose, since the difference is like, it's like 2 FPS. Yes, 49, and I guess that's it, 49. Yeah, 2 FPS difference. So very high settings it is. Now let's go to FSR and see what we actually get from FSR. Okay. Damn, I'm not used to this monitor, so it's in the video settings. I'm so dumb. So the upscaling FSR 2.0, and it keeps going up. It's so damn annoying. FSR quality, bam. And we go to almost 60 FPS. So at very high settings with FSR 2.0, okay, FSR 2.0, and very high settings, we are able to achieve close to 60, okay. So when we are actually still, the image quality is pretty fine, but once we actually move to the yes. Once we actually move around, the image quality is way worse in movement at 1080p. I tested at 1440p and at 4K, and it was pretty fine, but at 1080p, the render resolution is just too low, it seems. So yeah. Bam. Take it, hold it, love it. Bam. Oh, you won't die from a headshot. Bam, 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 bam. Okay, how did I die? I never died in this game. I literally just died now because this monitor is just 75 Hz and the FPS are too low and it's crashing and I can't really play that way. So yeah. Bam. The air pressure is mine. Yeah. Where's the damn people? I'm gonna kill you. Yes, crashes, crashes. Yep. Oh, there you are. Bam, bam, and you're done. I mean, it doesn't seem that bad. Oh, just let me... Okay. And throw. Okay, it doesn't seem that bad actually at least at 1080p with FSR 2.0. It doesn't seem that bad, but as you can see, I think I lack RAM. I need more RAM because I'm only using 8 GB, but still, yeah, it doesn't look that bad. But once we go, for example, to, let's see, to balanced, let's test balanced. And actually, well, actually we are now above 60 FPS, around 70, from 60 to 70. And yeah, actually it isn't that bad. Okay, the textures, yes, I need more RAM, I know. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't look so bad. Since the render resolution was already so low, the render resolution was so low that I don't see much difference in between the quality mode and the performance mode, and the FPS are certainly better with the quality mode. Okay, this is playable. It is not the best image fidelity that you can have, surely. It is not the best gameplay you have, but it is definitely playable, very playable. I mean, yeah, let's just once again quality mode. Okay, I can see the difference. I wasn't really looking at it because I was changing the ear, but I can see the difference in between quality. Quality looks much better, much sharper, with much more details. No doubts there, my bad. No doubts, it looks much better, but still, we get close to 60 FPS, which is pretty nice. 60 FPS for a card like the RX 580 in a game just recently released at very high settings is very nice. And let's go even further and go, for example, 1440p. Let's try 1440p. So let's do the 1440p resolution. But then, okay, It's crashing a lot already. But then let's go, for example, to medium settings. Medium settings, let's try it. Yeah, let's try it. Bam. And see what we get. So FSR is still enabled, medium settings, with FSR in quality mode. So yeah, I mean, we still get 50 FPS. 50 FPS, which is not that bad, actually pretty good. 50 FPS. The image is definitely sharper, but we still have some problems with the textures. I assume that's maybe due to my RAM only being 8 GB, due to RAM's capacity, okay? But it definitely looks sharper because we have a way higher render resolution and of course a higher native resolution as well. But it looks pretty well. If you ask me, it looks pretty nice. It looks better, but we also have lower graphics settings, so it looks better in terms of sharpness and in terms of details, but it also looks worse in terms of overall quality, since we actually decreased from very high to medium settings, so we can actually notice that. Bam 1, Bam 2, where is he? Bam 3, and where's the other guy? Bam, oh, he's not there, so... Yep, you gone. Unjam. That's one nice thing that I like about this. Unjam. Yes. Come on. You're messing around. Yeah, just die, bitch. Yep, just die. Okay, basically that's it. So at 1440p we can still play very nicely. Yeah, you won't get up from this. So we can still play very nicely at 1440p. We're talking about from 50 to 60 FPS at medium settings, when of course using the FSR, which is very nice for a card like the RX 580. We're talking about a card, a mid-tier card from like 2017, yes, so 2017, so 5 years ago, and it still runs at 1080p. It was supposed to play at 1080p 5 years ago, and due to FSR, it can still play at 1080p in today's games, okay? At 1080p 60 FPS, and also, yeah. Okay, it's always jammed, this shit. Die, okay. So, it can still run it, even in 2022 using a not so light game like, for example, Deathloop, which is not that light, and we are using now medium settings, 1440p, with the upscaling, with the FSR quality, and we actually have close to 60 FPS, which is kind of great. And once again, if we go to 1080p, yes, if we go to 1080p and even pick the very high settings once again, with FSR, yes, with FSR and quality, we still get 60 FPS. So it's pretty nice. Even here we get 60 FPS, okay? Let's just, yeah. Oh, I have to go there. Loop control center. It's the age. Yes, hold. Bam, it's opened. So yeah, guys, I mean, it's an RX 580, 5 years, and still running pretty damn well. So 1080p with render resolution, FSR quality, it still looks pretty well after the textures load, okay? At the beginning it looked very bad because the textures were loading and I just had 8 GB. But it still looks pretty damn great. Native looks better, definitely. It does look better, no doubts on that, but it still looks pretty damn great. It still looks very good with FSR 2.0, okay? Obviously, 1440p is still playable with FSR, and 1080p is even more playable with FSR. Very high settings, around 60 FPS, okay? So now you know, can actually the RX 580 gain FPS from using FSR? It can, okay? It is powerful enough to run the algorithm and still get FPS from FSR, okay? So we got around 10 average FPS, around that, so from low 50s or even high 40s to high 50s or low 60s, so around 10 average FPS, going from 1080p ultra, from 1080p very high settings, sorry, to FSR with quality settings, okay? So yeah, seems great to me. And well guys, that's all for today's video. I just wanted to show you how the RX 580 would actually run with FSR 2.0 on Deathloop, and we actually saw that we could indeed get some performance uplifts when using the FSR. So basically 1080p FSR 2.0 quality, and we can get a decent quality, a decent image quality, and we can get around 10 more average FPS, so from low 50s to low 60s. Even in very high settings, and if we decrease to medium settings, we can even use the upscaler at 1440p, okay? 1440p, medium settings, FSR 2.0 quality settings, and it will run decently well as well. And if you go to performance settings, it will also run very well. So I mean, the game is playable. You won't have high FPS unless you decrease the settings, you turn those settings down, but yep, definitely playable. FSR 2.0 does a decent job here, even at 1080p. So guys, see you in the next video.